Hi, I'm Richard and I'm part of the Common Good team. Tucked away in the Old Testament is an incredible story that has such relevance for us living in Cape Town today. It's the account of how the tribe of Judah was taken into exile into Babylon, over 900 kilometers away. And these exiles found themselves living in a land that they didn't want to be in, under the rule of a conquering power. And I think they had two temptations facing them. The one was to kind of assimilate into the Babylonian culture and lose all their distinctive nature of being Jews, to give up their morality and just become like everybody else. The other temptation I think they faced was to withdraw and to disengage and just wait on the sideline as victims, waiting for someone to come and rescue them. The prophet Jeremiah speaks up in chapter 29. He says, you know what, there's a third angle. He says, don't withdraw and don't assimilate. In fact, move into the city, engage with the city, do something in the city for God's glory. So let's pick it up in chapter 29, verses 4 to 7 and 11. This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there, do not decrease. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Can you see the parallel for us living in Cape Town? Maybe you feel like you're in exile in this city. Maybe you didn't even want to live here and you find yourself here kind of against your will. Or maybe you grew up here your whole life, have chosen to live in the city, but somehow feel disconnected or dispirited because of the situation that's happening in our city. Whether it's politics or crime or moral decay or frustration with the rand dollar rate and the economy. No matter where you find yourself, you may listen to what God says to the exiles. Because what he says to them in their state of being angry and despondent and frustrated, I think is what we need to hear today. And God says to them, and I think he says to us, is, I have placed you where you are. I have a purpose for you where you are, and I am with you where you are. God has incredible plans for the people of Cape Town and has incredible plans for you and for me. And often we may treat them as being mutually exclusive. Say, God has plans for me, and I don't think he really has plans for the city. But actually, God has both. It's not like he has a plan for you and then says, oh yeah, I had forgotten about the rest of the people of Cape Town. No, he has plans for them too. And we need to be open and be ready to see how God is drawing his plans for us and his plans for the city and integrating the two in life-giving ways. Let's dig into verse 7 a little bit more. It says, also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Depending on the translation that you have, that word peace might be prosperity or welfare. It's a beautiful Hebrew word laden with meaning, and it's the word shalom. Shalom is the presence of joy, the presence of flourishing in all its different forms. And so these exiles were to seek this peace and prosperity in all of its forms, and physically, relationally, socially, and spiritually. Another form of this shalom or peace is right relationship, vertically between people and God and horizontally between person and person. It gives us the sense of safety, of prosperity, and of peace. And what God says, I want you to seek the shalom of the city. It means we need to live into the city. We can't seek shalom on our couches behind locked doors. No, we need to go into the city, sink our roots down, make this city our home. Think about it. Think about where God has you working, has you living, worshiping, studying, shopping, and where your children go to school. All of those are avenues for you to seek the shalom of the city. And all of those things are not a surprise to God. They're all part of his plans and purposes for you. It's not a mistake. So when he says seek the shalom, he's saying put down roots, know your neighbors, get involved with school governing bodies, a sports club, neighborhood watches, get involved with the city, dwell into the city that you can seek its shalom. Now, consider too what God has given to you, how he has blessed you with strengths and your wiring, your experience, your passions. All of those things is part of his grand plan. That's part of his purpose for you. And so what he has given to you is not just for your benefit, it's actually part of his grand mission story for the rest of the city of Cape Town. And so when we think about this call to live into the city and seek its shalom, I would think that God is calling us to something. I think that He would say to us, He says, I have wired you the way you are with your strengths, your experience, your passion. I've placed you where you are in this city. And I've called you to seek justice, to seek the shalom in this city. Won't you trust me? Won't you listen to me? Won't you follow me into this great city of mine as I seek my purposes to be fulfilled in you and through you to the rest of the city in which you live?